Hello everybody, welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing you a brand new review, and today I'm going to be reviewing Blink Twice, which is now out in cinemas worldwide, co-written and directed by Zoe Kravitz in her directorial debut. I'll be talking about it a little bit later on, but it is out in cinemas now, and I have just got back from seeing the film. I went into this film completely blind. I hadn't seen the trailers for it, I hadn't seen anything from the promotion. I just knew that she had directed it, that Channing Tatum was starring in it, and I was curious to see what she could do as a director. So I'm going to talk about my experience seeing it at the cinema very briefly. But I firstly want to kickstart with a thank you to many people that are watching. We might have some new faces. We've been trying some new formats recently with videos. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll have seen a lot of reels. We're releasing clips from episodes now. We're also uploading a shorter version onto YouTube Shorts so that people can see the videos we're doing. So if you are watching this through them, then a massive thank you. I hope the format's working. And to our long-time viewers, of course, thank you for sticking with us. We're heading into a really busy time of the year for film. Festival season's just starting. Next thing you know, it's going to be Oscar season. We've got a few more TV shows starting up, and we're sort of planning what we want to do for the rest of the year. We've got a few new series starting, so a massive hello there, thank you, and all that other sorts of things. But if you're wondering what to on about these clips, go get us on social media. I mentioned we're on Instagram, we're also on Facebook, we're on Letterboxd, we're on Twitter. All of them are in the Linktree description. You can find that on there. We're more active probably on Instagram and Twitter than the others, if I'm completely honest with you. But of course, if you like this video, then please do hit the like button. It does help us. And if you like this video, like other videos, do hit subscribe. We've got a lot more reviews coming. A review that won't be coming is The Crow. I was meant to do a double bill for the new remake, not obviously the original one. There is a review of the original one on the channel from many moons ago. But yeah, I cocked up the timings at the cinema tonight. If you've seen videos before, you'll see that I tend to do double, triple bills at the cinema. It's nice to tick them off. It's a good way to spend a Friday night. But yeah, the times are wrong, and it would have been a 30-minute wait after this, plus adverts. I'm not going to wait an hour to watch The Crow. I've got no real intention of wanting to watch it by doing a video, so it's one of them where it can wait, it can be seen, and maybe it will crop up toward the end of the year or one of our list of videos, who knows. But heading back to Blink Twice, I mentioned earlier this is a film I knew nothing about. I knew that Zoe Kravitz was directing, and she's an actress that I've been very fond of, having seen her on the big screen, not just in commercial roles, but she's popped up in a lot of dramas too. Dope jumps to mind. She's somebody that has been acting for well over a decade that I can remember, and I think she's a very underrated actress. I don't think really she's had the acclaim I think she should. She's of course popped up in commercial films. Obviously people are going to think about the Batman more than anything, but she's someone that's an incredibly versatile actress. So seeing her transition into directing is an easy sell for me. I like it when we see actors, people that spend time behind the camera, in front of the camera, giving it a go at trying something different, especially with her background, the film she's worked on. I mentioned some of the dramas she's been on before. I was really curious to see what she could do as director. Of course, having Channing Tatum in this as well, you've got a household name, people are familiar with him. Yes, we've all seen him recently as Gambit 2, and I know there was a press junket clip that went viral of the two of them doing the sort of voices with each other, but that's enough to start this film for me. What I didn't know was the rest of the cast that were going to be in this film. You've got some real underrated actors that pop up, people that I didn't know were in the film. I don't know who's in the trailer, who isn't, but there is a few people in this who I did not know were going to be in it, and I've got to say the film is better for it. Rather than padding a film with A-listers, we instead get actors that are coming through. Some of them have been in different industries before, like Simon Rex, if anyone's seen Red Rocket, and a few other things, but I thought the cast of this was really good. But then we've got the story too. And this is a kind of, not necessarily a criticism that I have, but I think this film's going to get compared to 3 other films. I'm thinking immediately Get Out, I'm thinking Saltburn, and I'm thinking Don't Worry Darling, all ironically films that were directed by actors turned directors. I do think this film is better than 2 of them. Obviously Get Out's in its own league, but it's very hard when you have a psychological thriller such as this that is not necessarily taking inspiration from them, but with them all being so recent, it's hard not to think of them. But that doesn't take away from the experience of watching this. However, I do have a couple of criticisms that fall in line with it. One of these is actually Channing Tatum in this film. I'm trying to keep the spoiler free, so I'm not going to give any plot moments away, but his character feels very two-dimensional when it's trying to be three-dimensional, and I don't think he has the reading for this role. I actually think there could have been better candidates within this film, but I completely understand that there is that star power that it is a smaller, I say it's still a $20 million budget, but it's still a smaller drama. It's directorial debut. It's somebody she obviously knows very personal outside of this film set, so it's completely understandable why he's in this. But Naomi Ackie in the lead role, I thought she was great. I'll be truthfully honest, I've not seen her in anything since Star Wars Episode 9. I know she had the whole subplot of John Boyega in that, and I think she was wasted, but it's great to see her in a leading role. And alongside her, we have Arjona, who, of course, we waxed lyrical about in Hitman earlier this year, who's also been in Star Wars, of course, of Andor, one of my favourite series the last couple of years, and she's fantastic in this. And these two really carry the film to the next level. I think there's a few other good performances. People like Haley Joel Oswald pop up, which is great. Didn't realise he'd be in this. I don't think I've seen him in anything since The Boys. Again, going into this film blind was probably the best way to do it, and I think that's the best way to watch this film. But talking about the experience watching the film, the cinema I was in was actually packed. I was really surprised when I booked my ticket this morning. There were only a couple of seats gone. When I turned up, it was 2/3 full, which is quite impressive for the cinema that I usually go to, so I didn't expect that. It's great to see a busier screening, and I do think this is a film that's going to be very popular with people. I'm not going to disrespect it and call it a streaming film, but I do feel like this is the kind of film that when it eventually goes online, if it doesn't find an audience within the cinemas, it's going to be one of those you see on Netflix's homepage that everyone then starts talking about, gets given a second life. Ironically, I mentioned Saltburn earlier, probably not to the extent of that, but there are certainly things in this film that I think are going to catch on. There's one incredibly vulgar scene. I know that MGM and I think Warner Brothers have released sort of trigger warning statements in the last week leading up to the film's release, so it's understandable they've done that. So have a read of that if you're curious about watching the film. If it's something that's a bit too much, then definitely avoid it until you'd be comfortable to see it. But it is something, given the other big film that's come out recently with similar themes, that decided to skip away from that and market it as something completely else, which it is not. So that's a little bit aside, a bit of politics, but it's good to see the studios doing that. But in line of this, I kind of spoke about what I thought of the story, what I thought of the characters. It's hard to talk about because the less you know, the better this film is. The characters function, the story functions, but if you delve into it too much, it will really spoil it for people, so I'm going to avoid doing that in this. I'll probably talk about it in a couple of weeks with Tate on the What We Watch series, if people haven't seen it by then, if they have, but it is one where I think the less you know about this film, the better it's going to be, and that kind of leads into the ending of this review. Is it a film I recommend? It absolutely is. We don't get original films as much at the cinema. I'm not saying go and see it because there's a lack of original films, but we've got Beetlejuice coming out in a few weeks. We've had a few great films recently, Alien Romulus, Deadpool Wolverine. We've had Trap, which is still showing in the UK. And I think supporting original films is a real basic thing for me. It's why I'm more encouraged to go to the cinema to see a film such as this rather than The Crow, which is another pointless remake. But with this, we're at least seeing a young director showing her potential, and I'm really intrigued to see what Zoe Kravitz does do next. So that is going to kind of round it out for this review today. Once again, a massive thank you to everyone watching at home, for your comments, for checking out our videos, everything we're working on at the moment. It is really appreciated. We'll be back with other videos. As I mentioned, no review for The Crow, but we're working on a new series which is going to start up in the first week of September, and that's going to be weekly through to December. We've then got, as I mentioned, Beetlejuice earlier. We've got some new releases. We've got a What We Watch to record. There's a lot more videos happening on the channel. We'll have more clips of those as well, just in case people want some of the smaller sound bites. So once again, thank you all for your patience for watching our videos, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.